Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2021 Oro Valley Bioscience Spotlight. I'm Dave Perry, President and CEO of the Greater Oro Valley Chamber, and we're so glad to have you with us today as we take an hour to explore what's being explored right here in our own backyard, Oro Valley's Innovation Park. To enhance your experience today, we encourage you to click on the link that's within your video profile there and read the great program developed by our events director, Kristen Sharp. It's got advertising, it's got bios, it's got other information to enhance your experience today. We'll begin with video presentations from our host sponsor, Tech Parks Arizona, our presenting sponsor, the Town of Oro Valley, and several other businesses that are helping make today's event possible. Enjoy them. We'll be right back with you.
Tech Parks Arizona and all the different components allow global companies, innovation coming out of the university, and the university talent to really collide and make significant impact on the world.
Oftentimes, startups want access to the university resources, whether that be graduates or researchers to collaborate with. Being a part of the university allows us to provide these connections and add value to the startup companies.
And why don't we do that on campus? Why do we need a tech park to do that? Because that environment is much more a mixture and an interface creation environment, purpose-built to allow our researchers and our students to work with companies.
The spirit of Tech Parks Arizona is the purposeful linking of industry, academia, and government together. We are the sandbox where all these entities come and play.
Oro Valley is proud to support our thriving bioscience industry by sponsoring today's Bioscience Spotlight, hosted by the Oro Valley Chamber of Commerce. The town's growing bio and life sciences sector includes Roche Tissue Diagnostics, the University of Arizona College of Veterinary Medicine, the Oro Valley Hospital, Sigma Labs, and others, all of which are contributing to a healthy local economy. These critical employers continue to generate a synergy that is leading to more bioscience sector interest in Oro Valley and the surrounding region. The town is a proud partner of the Chamber, as well as the University of Arizona Center for Innovation. The Center for Innovation opened its new incubator at Innovation Park in November 2020. It was built as a multi-year collaboration and fundraising effort among dedicated individuals in the private, nonprofit, and public sectors who made up the Oro Valley Innovation Lab. This incubator brings energy and collaboration to the bioscience firms in our region by welcoming businesses like Theracia, which is developing processes to improve PET scans that will help doctors detect cancer earlier, increasing the chance of a patient's survival, and Suvi Biodelivery, a company focused on developing a novel platform technology for more targeted drug delivery in the human body. These two companies alone have already brought nearly $500,000 of capital investment to the area. We are looking forward to today's announcement about the third startup moving into the incubator. Oro Valley stands ready to welcome our newest startup. With flexible development codes and ongoing business support, we've laid the groundwork to transition all of these impressive entrepreneurs into expanded space and resources, helping their companies grow into the future. On behalf of the Town of Oro Valley, welcome to today's Bioscience Spotlight as we shine a bright light on an industry that is helping to improve the health and quality of life of citizens in Oro Valley and across the region.
at the brand new University of Arizona Center for Innovation at Oro Valley, a fantastic facility. We're about to show it to you, and I can look out this window right here and see the top of Mount Lemmon. So a great setting for great research. Let's learn more about what happens here at UACI Oro Valley with its Executive Director, Eric Smith.
Eric, thanks so much for taking the time to speak with us today. We're going to socially distance, so we'll take our masks off. You're the Executive Director of the University of Arizona Center for Innovation, Oro Valley. What does that mean? What do you do in this position, Eric?
So the University of Arizona Center for Innovation is the university's startup incubator network. So who we really serve is scalable science and tech ventures. We have a full staff that helps to take them through a program and provide them with space. And my job really is to be a champion for them, to find resources, to ensure that we're expanding appropriately so that those startups can grow and find whatever success means to them.
There's office space available everywhere in the community, Eric. What distinguishes the Center for Innovation from other business spaces?
It's more than just a space. So there's a few things. First of all, we have state-of-the-art facilities. So we have things such as wet labs and dry labs. Here in Oro Valley, it's a biotech-focused incubator. And the lab resources that are here are important to these startups and not accessible in many other places, certainly throughout southern Arizona. And so in addition to the unique equipment and facilities resources that we have here for startups like this, it's really about the programming. So we have mentors and residents, subject matter experts, interns, a broader network, all who work with our startups to take them through that continuum of education and activities, hold them accountable for implementation, because if the startups aren't successful, the space won't do them much good. So it's really about the people, the umbrella of support that we put around these companies.
Eric, the university is creating a network of incubator spaces across the greater southern Arizona area. May I ask, why Oro Valley for this particular use?
It was driven by need. What's great about this facility right here is that there was a group of community leaders that were saying this is required, this is needed. Companies like Roche were looking for places for trailing spouses. They were looking for technologies to acquire. They were looking for talent to come to the area. So this was a natural next step for Oro Valley, and really we came in to help make that happen, but largely driven by need, and we brought the experience.
If we're successful here, what will that look like to you and to the community at large?
I would say that we're already successful here, and we've just started. We got the building built. But truly, the phase that we're at right now, it's about putting startups in here, bringing that talent, bringing these technologies here. We have two incredible companies already stationed here at UACI at Oro Valley. We're bringing in two more. They've already brought in about $500,000 in non-dilutive capital to the region with them, employees. And on the long term, really this is economic development through startup creation. So when these companies are successful here, and if they receive the support from groups like yours, from the town, from us, hopefully they stay here, they hire employees, they purchase infrastructure, attract additional capital, all the things that you really need for productive economic development.
You mentioned Roche in the conversation, and Dr. Grogan, 30 plus years ago now, had his idea that became Ventana Medical Systems and now is the largest bioscience company in southern Arizona, right up the road here. Is that the goal, to try to replicate that sort of startup to scalable venture?
Yeah, absolutely. While those things are rare, startups have this thing where they like to fail sometimes, that's the ultimate goal. When companies are well supported, they have the resources they need, in space like this or programming, they have the people around them to support them, they can grow to that size. And ultimately, most of these companies are looking for that kind of exit, what we experienced with Ventana to Roche. An acquisition in 5 years or so, which brings a large corporation to an area to continue to grow that business unit.
And when we have a large corporation like Roche, they're creating 1,600 jobs in our community. They have families move to Oro Valley. Their kids go to school here. It's a real economic driver. And is that why the community at large should be supportive of these ideas?
It's certainly a part of it. But truly, these startups need community support. They look for connections to customers, to investment. And yes, when they grow, they give back to the community in many ways. through corporate development like you've seen here in Oro Valley with Roche, to giving a community like this a reputation for being a powerhouse in the biotech industry. These startups do that for us. And so certainly we always look forward to the community coming and interacting with these startups. They're always looking for advisors, subject matter experts. They're looking for connections to just about any resource that you can imagine. And the community oftentimes has those connections to provide.
Sure. What am I missing here, Eric? What things would you like to share with our guests about U of A Center for Innovation Oro Valley?
Really, this is an open door. If you're interested in being a part of what we're doing out here, if you're interested in learning more about our startups, in all, we'll have 4 startups out here in Oro Valley, but we have 48 startup companies spread across the region in all different spaces. They're in software all the way to fintech or finance tech and physical products and agriculture. And if the community is ever interested in learning more about these startups, then go to our website. If they're ever interested in coming in and taking a look at this incubator, of course, right now we do it very safely, but the door is open. I am personally happy to give the tour to any community member that wants to see it.
Speaking of tours, let's go take a tour of the facility.
Sounds like a plan.
Turn your miles into smiles at Pima Federal Credit Union. Buy new, used, or refinance your current auto loan and start saving money today. We make it simple and convenient from start to finish. Plus, there's no better time to buy or refinance with auto loan rates as low as 1.74% APR. Get pre-approved today from the comfort of your home at pimafederal.org. Get behind the wheel of your dream car with a Pima Federal auto loan.
Lately, we've all faced difficult choices. We sacrifice. We choose to stay home, to connect, not to be stuck in our fears. And when we choose each other, life gets better. We choose to be here when you need us, to support you during hard times. We choose strength and hope. We choose you.
So Dave, welcome to UACI at Oro Valley. This is a 6,000 square foot building, of which 4,000 square feet is built out into our biotech incubator up here. But I always have to reference, our programming.
Sure.
So every startup here has access to quite a bit of assistance, quite a bit of work that we're putting into these companies, and we can do that across our various locations. So we've designed everything to scale. So it was nice when Oro Valley came online, we brought our startups here, we already have the programming infrastructure to support them. One thing that we have, as you can see, is the reception area. One thing that we create for these startups is a sense of legitimacy. If you're working out of your garage or if you're working from your home, you don't have somebody, greeting your guests, your potential investors, your strategic partners, et cetera. So this is actually, though it seems like just a lobby, it's an important space for our startups and their guests. And while most of this is a lab, there still is an area for our startups to work on their intellectual property, get the paperwork done, things of that nature. It becomes an established business environment.
Sure.
So what we have here is a large open space for the startups to interact. Part of the value of being in an incubator is, you're working with entrepreneurs that have been through the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And we have here 4 individual offices for the startups to come and lock their IP and get work done in an office setting. We have also worthy to note that everything was built here to be able to be moved. So in the future, as we get more in person, we'll be hosting workshops here, smaller events, things of that nature, so that the community can come in and engage. Dave, I'd like to introduce you to Iman with Theracia.
Iman, Dave Perry, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Dave.
Tell us about Theracia Pharma. I read where you're using positron emission tomography for early detection of cancer. For the layman, what does that mean?
Sure. Let me just to walk you through the steps to have a better understanding of what we are doing. So for patients who are suffering from different diseases, diagnosis is super important. For instance, for cancer, if people are diagnosed in late stages of the disease progress, it means that they have more complication in their disease, and they have more limited options for treatment. If those people or those patients are diagnosed in earlier stages, there is a better chance to treat those diseases. Positron emission tomography or PET imaging is a powerful modality that allows physicians and radiologists to do early diagnosis of the diseases such as cancer. Before it spreads out the whole body, you can detect where it's started. And with that, you can provide more and better options to the patients for better treatment and better outcome for patients. In any positron emission tomography imaging, you need to inject a small and safe dose of radioactive material that is labeled on drugs so it can light up cancer cells for you. And there is a chemical process needed for making these diagnostic agents. So patient that needs to have PET imaging, they need to have those radioactive material in their body. To make those radioactive material, you need to have a chemical process. And what we are offering is that chemical process. Right now, the problem is in a lot of rural area, the products are so unstable that they need to be produced on site. And that means for a lot of centers, they cannot make the drug, so patients cannot have access to that. But what we are offering, our product can be distributed with commercial radiopharmacies, so people all around the country can have access to these drugs. A center like UACI, they have the space for you. They have the office space, laboratory space. They have the equipment that you need to do your research and development work. So this is a great accelerator for all of the biotech companies. They can just come in and start their work. Unlike in other situations, you have to first find money and then find the space, then purchase all the equipment, and all of this means delay in what you want to do.
Sure.
USCIA, with the great work they have done, they just put you in the lab and you're ready to do what you are going to do for your company, and you're not killing your time technically.
What's the goal? What does success look like to you?
These days, we hear a lot that people are dying from cancer. When we look at our friends, family, we will find examples of people who have suffered from cancer and unfortunately died from cancer. I have the same experience. One of very dear friends that I had was diagnosed with cancer in late stages, and the person died because of late stage diagnosis. So our mission here is to introduce diagnostic agents for early detection of cancer. We want to have products in the market to make it available to patients so their disease can be diagnosed in earlier stages so they can survive from cancer. That's the goal we want to make. And how to get there is not an easy job.
Sure.
We are talking about 3 to 5 years time that we need to spend on different stages of development. About the financials, we need to raise capital for all the activities. We are talking about millions of dollars of money, but it is very important to start from somewhere, and I think we are in a good track to get to where we want to go.
Super. Dr. Iman Darrier, Theracia Pharma is the company. Glad to have you here in Oro Valley.
Thank you for the interview.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Yep.
It's worthy to note as well that this company is actually sponsored here in our incubator. You ask how the community can get involved. BIOSA, the Bioindustry Association of Southern Arizona, is actually sponsoring this startup to be here, so covering the costs required to be in the incubator. It's a great way that we get corporations, municipalities involved, and a little teaser for maybe something that the viewers will be seeing later today.
Sure.
So, welcome to our lab. This is truly what Iman was talking about when he says access to resources that startups can't otherwise afford.
Sure.
When startups come in here, they have the ability to get right to work. The way that we have it set up here is the 4 startups in Oro Valley. As you can see, they're just moving in now. Will each have a space to work, and they're surrounded by equipment resources they can't otherwise afford or have access to. So we provide that equipment. This is a fully managed lab. We have a lab manager on site that helps to calibrate and keep things up and make sure that the startups are safe. We'll plan to have a similar type of lab as we do down at in the Vail area at Rita Road, BSL2, GLP qualified, which is a bunch of acronyms to say that we're certified and we do things safely. All of this equipment here is purchased new through some partnerships that we have. And again, a part of the community's involvement in this is that a lot of this was funded through a fundraising effort that involved a number of corporations, most of whom are in this area, who helped to put money in to ensure that this equipment was here. So I'll take you on over to one of our 2 cell culture labs.
And Eric, as we talk about, these corporations are helping to equip this laboratory because?
For the same reason that we talked about Roche doing it earlier. You know, they're looking for technology acquisition if they're in this space, or talent acquisition. But really, by and large, it's corporations that are committed to Oro Valley, that want to see economic development through startup creation. So if they can support something like this, it certainly gives startups a leg up and gives the community a reputation for being able to serve these types of companies.
Let's take care of that reputation. Okay, come on, Eric, here we go.
It may not seem like much, but there's actually quite a bit of resource in an area like this. This is one of 2 cell culture labs that we have. I mean, things such as microscopes or CO2 incubators or biosafety cabinets. These things are very expensive and will be used very frequently here at our lab. But really, ultimately, you know, labs like this and some of the separation that we have for this lab will be booked solid, right? These things are resources that these startups really need. Very frequently, we work with partners such as Thermo Fisher, who will sometimes donate consumables or some of the things that you use and then throw away. And so when we have that on site, the startups are welcome to use those as well. We really try to do anything we can to give them the support they need. This is cold storage. So this is extremely important to those working with cells, right? We have a 3-door fridge here. We have 2 minus 20 degree freezers here. And this is a minus 80. This is the type of freezer required to store the Pfizer vaccines, for example, and an imperative for startups that are working in spaces such as the ones that we have here. Startups have access to additional equipment, you know, fume hoods, the proper ventilation, autoclaves to clean things. That's ultra pure DI water here that the startups need. They can't just pull water from the sink to run their experiments. So all of this is here for them. What this gives them is a base. They're still going to have to go out and fundraise. They're still going to have to put some additional equipment here, but this certainly gives them a large head start. So we try to think of it all. I mean, even things such as lab coats we provide for the startup companies so that they don't have to take them out of the lab and try to get them washed somewhere else. We take care of all of that for them.
I probably just contaminated that one right there.
You're okay for now. So Dave, I'd like to introduce you to Souvenir Tachado of Sous Vide Biodelivery.
Dr. Souvenir Tachado, Sous Vide Biodelivery. He was on the faculty of Harvard Medical School, I read. Welcome, thank you for giving us a few minutes. I read about how your project is of developing a way to deliver drugs to target sites without causing drug-induced adverse side effects.
That's right.
How do you do it?
Well, you know, this thinking that was stemmed from my studies at Harvard Medical School. Well, I was studying HIV pathogenesis. So in order for HIV virus to disseminate infection in the body, it uses a cell product called exosomes, a nanoparticle, and then use that to shuttle them out of the cell to make another healthy cells and infect them. So that observation made me think that if the virus can use this, I can use this too to help patients. And then, so I have 2 sisters that died of metastatic breast cancer, and they suffered from serious side effects. So I thought that perhaps if we can avoid these serious side effects by using a delivery system that is novel, that is only targeted to cancer cells without affecting the healthy cells, it would be nice. So we sought out this project, and the National Science Foundation awarded us for phase 1 to develop this technology. The thinking of the exosome based is, first, it is a product of the cell, so it is biocompatible. Second, the drug is being encased inside the nanoparticle, so it is being protected from degradation from when it is inside the body. And third, there's a mechanism that it has a homing device that can only target cancer cells or my intended cells without affecting the healthy cells.
I think I sort of understand that. and you've got a personal motivation. I'm sorry about your loss of your sisters. As you accelerate your project here at the facility, what does success look like to you? What is the goal for sous vide biodelivery?
Well, the success is to create value for my company, for my employees, for my patients, and in general for the society. And if we can get that into motion, we can hire people and also help the economy of Arizona.
That'd be great, and I hope you do it right here in Oro Valley. Dr. Souvenir Tachado, thank you so much for making time. Best of success to you with sous vide biodelivery.
We'll do it. We'll make it happen.
Well, Dave, the last stop on the tour is our conference room here. So again, it's just about providing them with all the spaces, to make sure that they can operate. And so a decent-sized conference room, beautiful views of the Oro Valley area, doored out to the patio for when the meeting is over. But yeah, just making sure that that every startup has the resources required to do business.
Super.
And so that's the last stop on the tour.
Super excited. Eric, thank you so much. And I'm excited as I see the space and I listen to those two gentlemen with their pioneering research. I think this is going to be a great asset for our community.
We're grateful to Eric and all the folks here at U of A CI Oro Valley for that glimpse into their workspaces. The science is high and technical, but the promise is real, and we're so excited to have them all with us. Stay with us now for a few words about and from our sponsors.
Thank you to today's sponsors. Our presenting sponsor for today is the Town of Oro Valley. Our host is the University of Arizona Center for Innovation at Oro Valley. Our supporting sponsors, Acacia IT, Arizona Daily Star, Tucson.com, Bayer, El Conquistador Tucson, a Hilton resort, Hughes Federal Credit Union, Northwest Healthcare, Pima Federal Credit Union, Quail Park of Oro Valley, Roche Tissue Diagnostics, and Tucson Local Media.
Know us, know your community. Tucson Local Media is your local media source and home of Inside Tucson Business, Tucson Weekly, The Explorer, Marana News, Foothills News, and Desert Times. Tucson Local Media has up-to-date stories, entertainment features, and late-breaking news and information to keep our expanding community connected. Engage with your community simply by knowing Tucson Local Media. Contact us today at 797-4384 or find us online at TucsonLocalMedia.com.
Now, let's learn about a fascinating development at our Chamber Diamond member, Roche Tissue Diagnostics, right up the hill here in Oro Valley, Arizona's premier bioscience company.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're here at the Post Workspaces to speak with Nelson Alexander. He's got his PhD in cancer biology from the University of Arizona. He's a research leader at Roche Tissue Diagnostics, right up the hill here, and he's going to talk about this fascinating thing that they've figured out with regard to representative sampling, and as a heads up, it includes the use of a food blender.
First, thanks for the invite. This is really cool, and I'm working from home for so long that this is super cool. I really appreciate it. So representative sampling is basically a straightforward mathematic process for sampling very diverse sources of information. And so, it was originally defined in the mining industry, which Tucson has a very rich history of, by an engineer whose name was Pierre Guy. And, if you think of what a mine is, a mine is a very large organization of earth with something that is of incredibly high value somewhere in this area. Well, if you don't know where it is and you don't know how much is there, what you have to do is you take a huge amount of that earth and you blend it, you grind it up, and then you sample a representative sample of that soil. And the reason why that is so important as we think about cancer biology is, tumors are actually pretty similar. What we have come to find is that tumors are incredibly heterogeneous at the level of DNA mutations in a spatial way, very similar to what a mine might be. Or think of zip codes. Not every zip codes share the same demographics. Same is true for a tumor. You may have a fundamentally different type of mutation in this one area of a tumor versus the entire part of that tumor.
So the solution is, as I understand, you blend it. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. So if we take just a brief step back and we go back to how we currently sample, so the tumor will be surgically removed from the patient. It'll get put into formalin. That's a fixative, so it sort of kills all the bad stuff and kills all the cells. Samples will be taken, and then the rest of that tumor, which could be the size of a grape, could be the size of a lemon, an orange, a grapefruit, in some very, very serious cases, like sarcoma, is the size of a basketball. And we're still only taking one very small area and asking questions about that. And so, after reading a lot of the literature that we call tumor heterogeneity, so I was reading a lot of papers around this stuff, meeting with really smart people that were really describing this as a huge challenge, while working at Roche Tissue Diagnostics and being surrounded by a bunch of pathologists who could answer all these great questions that I had about their process and what happens to the rest of the tissue. I was informed that the rest of the tissue that doesn't go for current sampling is generally incinerated. And so that could be upwards of 99% of the actual tumor that was removed from the patient. And so I met with a really incredibly talented PhD scientist who's a bioinformaticist at Roche Tissue Diagnostics, and her name is Kate Lee, Dr. Kate Lee. And I was asking her, how many samples do I have to take? Just give me like a number, probably more than one, less than maybe 20. So this is total like my naive assumptions about sampling, because I went into this, I had no idea what representative sampling was. And, thankfully she's kind of a genius. And she said, well, it's going to be a few more than 50, bud. And so we had this back and forth that lasted months, frankly, of me, being this petulant scientist saying, no, I just want, give me a better answer. And Kate saying, well, I do have an answer for you, and you need to go get a blender. And it was this off the cuff comment. I thought it was the silliest thing I'd ever heard. But I left that meeting room up in Oro Valley, and on the way back to my desk, I'm like, man, she is totally right. She is totally right. And so, I sat down and started Googling blenders. And so that's what we did. She was incredibly helpful, super insightful. It's the power of working across disciplines and having, the ability to reach out to crazy intelligent people. And she knows what representative sampling is. She's a genius mathematician. And so, she helped me better understand what was necessary. And it's a very scary proposition for me because, the practice of solid tumor diagnostics has been fixed for many, many years, decades. And so frankly, we just did a really simple experiment. We got some fresh tissue, we fixed it, and we put it in a blender, hit go, and then took what was left over and put it on a microscope glass slide, and put it under a microscope. And we looked at it, and we could see that there were single cells and chunks of tumor. And so it didn't liquefy, it didn't destroy it. There were intact cells, which is critically important when you need to go ask very complex questions about solid tumors. So our goal is to not only find things that are rare, but also to be able to find the things that we don't know are there right now.
This could have enormous ramifications for the way that we diagnose and treat cancers.
Yeah, we tend to lean into sort of the easiness, the ease with which people can understand what a blender is and how they might be able to use the blender, but we're actually way more than just blenders. I mean, that was likely the first 0.1% of our work, frankly. We published a paper last year in a journal called Cell Reports. And in that paper, we defined that in two different diseases, lung cancer and kidney cancer, both of those diseases use drugs that activate your immune system to fight your own tumor. What we did in that paper, we took data sets that already existed and we looked at if we took a more representative view of those two diseases, would patients that might look high actually be low when you look at the rest of their tumor? And in fact, that's exactly what we saw. What we saw was, many patients might be misclassified as being positive and in some instances negative. And you have to take this representative view of the entire tumor to really understand what that tumor is. Is it positive or is it negative? If it's negative, then you're going to give a patient a drug with significant side effects. If it's positive, then the patient might actually miss out on getting something that could really significantly help their cancer battle. And so, that was just one of many, many findings that we're coming to find right now. We actually opened up a clinical study with some colleagues that we have at the Royal Marsden Hospital in London and the Crick Research Institute in London. And this is a feasibility study to determine whether or not our method actually works in sort of standard clinical practice.
You said before we went on the air that you stand on the shoulders of giants and that you've seen more than 25 years of incredible development here on the Roche campus right in Oro Valley. What's it like for you to be part of this process that's going to take some time to unfold, but maybe an enormous step forward in the way that we take care of people?
That's a really cool question because the first giants whose shoulders I'm standing on are Dr. Grogan's. To be a professor at the University of Arizona, to understand the challenges the pathologists were having with diagnosing and predicting which drugs should go with which patients back in the 80s, and for him to have the resilience, the push, the drive, the grit to go get that initial investment, to start a company, frankly, to grow the company to what it is today, which is, it's $1 billion company. It's just remarkable. So relative to what he's done in the marketplace of Oro Valley, for the economy of Oro Valley, absolute giant. But what he's done for scientists that work at the facility that he founded is, I would not be here, nor would I have been in the right environment to even have the idea for representative sampling. So frankly, I owe most of the scientific endeavor that I am currently a part of to Dr. Grogan. But then when you talk about his impact on patients, millions of cancer patients. And so, there have been so many pathologists that have gone through that company. There's so many talented scientists that are currently there putting out, the next generation of tests that can help patients now. Science is an iterative process of trying to define what is better and can I get closer to that truth? And, I don't know if everybody in the city of Tucson or frankly, even in the city of Oro Valley really recognize the impact that Dr. Grogan has had, but there's a whole campus of incredibly talented, not just scientists, but, marketing executives. You got people working in manufacturing, literally building the instruments that help patients get the right tests and the right answers and the right drugs. So yeah, I feel crazy lucky to work at, to have worked at that place. I'm now working at a different part of Roche Diagnostics, but I still have the luxury of working at that campus, which is, it's just such a great place.
It's great to have you as neighbors and humbling to know the kinds of things that are happening right up the hill here in Oro Valley and beyond. So thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. This was super fun.
I don't know about you, but I may never look at a food blender in quite the same way. Our thanks to Nelson Alexander and to all of his colleagues collaborating to get to new ideas that may lead to great discoveries in the way that we take care of people. By the way, Dr. Grogan's book, Chasing the Invisible, is a great read, and I highly recommend it. It's about perseverance. When someone has an idea and they work and they work and they work to get it to the market, I highly recommend it. Enjoy these messages. We'll be right back with a very special announcement.
At Bayer, we are shaping the future of agriculture. When we challenge what hasn't been done, we discover the science of what is yet to come. Our mission is to help farmers around the world get more out of every acre and grow more with less. In Marana, we're doing just that. A dream made reality in the Arizona desert, where we are growing acres of corn sustainably under glass. Our process all starts with seed selection. As a company, we're working to find the seeds with the genetics farmers want. In the past, this meant growing millions of seeds in open fields around the globe to find the best of the best. Today, however, we take a small chip out of the seed in our facility in Iowa and analyze the DNA to find the right seeds. Knowing what we're planting before we plant it means we're saving limited resources like land, water, and energy. When the best seeds are identified, they are shipped here to Marana. We've already invested a lot in each seed, and each seed is unique, so it's vital that we keep track of every single one using advanced automation and data. That starts from the moment the seeds arrive and are planted into a germination tray. From there, the seeds are set to grow in a climate-controlled chamber. The chamber includes customized lighting and temperature, giving the seeds everything they need to get the best start in life. Next, a robot takes a look at every seedling and decides if it's ready for the next step, its own pot. Now that our baby corn have their own pots, they are headed out to the greenhouse. Here, automation does some heavy lifting to move the entire bench of freshly transplanted corn out to the greenhouse, where it will live for up to 4 months. Now our plants are ready for the next step, pollination. Here, we will be combining the best genetics to create resilient corn. This is a part of the process robots can't do. This is where art and science come together in plant breeding. Pretty soon, the corn will be ready to harvest. Again, it's another area where people are a must. We carefully husk and shell each corn ear and make sure every seed is handled with care. Each seed is important and on its way to the next step, a field somewhere around the world to evaluate, select, and eventually grow enough to fill orders for farmers both big and small across the globe. And as we help those farmers to conserve our natural resources, at Bayer Marana, we set the example. We recapture and reuse our water, a precious resource here in the desert Southwest. And we're proud to say that stalks, cobs, and discarded soil will be composted and reused. At Bayer Marana, we are the example of progress, challenging the impossible and using science and imagination to deliver innovative solutions to shape the future of agriculture.
Thank you to our corporate members. Our platinum member, Arizona Daily Star, Tucson.com. Our gold members, Acacia IT and El Conquistador Tucson, a Hilton resort. Our diamond members, Pima Federal Credit Union and Roche Tissue Diagnostics. Our silver members, Hughes Federal Credit Union, Northwest Healthcare, Sierra Tucson, and Tucson Local Media. Our copper members, Bayer, Casa de la Luz, Desert Diamond Casinos, Golder Ranch Fire District, 1AZ Credit Union, Pima Community College, Splendido at Rancho Vistoso, Wendy Wise State Farm, Tucson Federal Credit Union, Tucson Roadrunners, and Vantage West Credit Union.
As part of our agreement with the Town of Oro Valley, Our chamber is a sponsor of a business plan contest, what we call a sponsored launch, judged by a panel of 4 smart people and me, and the award is $10,000. That $10,000 is good for 1 year's tenancy here at U of A Center for Innovation at Oro Valley. It's accompanied by in-kind support from Weibel Law Firm, Rocky Point Technology Group, and eVideo Creations. And I got to tell you, it's so gratifying to me to see our chamber members step up and help a promising new business. It's my real pleasure to introduce to you today our recipients, Eric Lyons and Scott Zentak. They are principals with the bioscience startup YouPetcha, and that rhymes, by the way, with You Betcha. Eric and Scott, welcome. Congratulations. Great to have you with us. Give us a broad overview of YouPetcha, what your business model is, and what you're attempting to do.
Perfect. Well, we're really happy to be here today and be part of this bioscience ecosystem. And YouPetcha is really based around a very simple but powerful idea, and that is making dog breath as good as your dog. And so our whole business model is to take modified naturally occurring bacteria from dogs' mouths and make it produce mint aromas.
Wait a minute. Make it produce mint aromas. I'm not a dog guy, and I understand that dogs have breath. Tell me about the origins of this idea.
Eric?
Thank you. So again, thanks for having us and thanks for sponsoring us. So this happened a couple of years ago. I was actually up here in Oro Valley with a bunch of friends sitting around after a Thanksgiving dinner. And so we're sitting around a campfire, which we can easily do here in the area, and we all had dogs on our laps. And the dogs, of course, were very happy that we had just finished dinner. They're licking our faces, and we started to get into an argument or heated discussion over whose dog had the stinkiest breath. And that sort of started to evolve into, wait, do all dogs have stinky breath? Which dogs have stinkier breaths? Is it the big slobbery dogs? Is it the little teeny dogs? And as we're sitting around and discussing this, I started to think to myself, wait a second, I think we can develop some technology to solve bad breath in dogs. And this became the seed for our innovation. And so after Thanksgiving, I went back to work at the University of Arizona and I started thinking about this. And so the core technology is to take naturally occurring bacteria from dog mouths and then screen through them looking for ones that will be perfect for further modification. And then what we do is we basically engineer pathways at a genetic level to produce good smells. These aren't very complicated pathways, and it turns out that the one for making mint aroma is really simple. And the core compound is something called methyl salicylate. That's what you get when you eat mint, and you get that nice minty flavor to it. So we engineered these pathways, we put them back into these bacteria, and then with partnership at the University of Arizona, the Tech Launch Center helped seed us in terms of this initial research. They were wonderful in terms of a program to help develop our business plan. And then we got a chance to work with vets on campus in order to come up with a procedure for testing them in dogs. So we grew up our bacteria, went through the approval process, and we put them into dogs. And one of the first dogs were my dogs at home, and my wife was very critical in terms of making sure these things were absolutely safe on multiple levels. So when we put them into the dogs, we then had a chance to smell test them. We tried to recultivate the bacteria, and then we used some very sensitive lab equipment called gas chromatography and mass spectrometry to detect those molecules that are making mint smells. And we got to see this work for about 2 hours or so, which then became the core technology that allowed us to form YouPetcha, license it from the university, which has led us to where we are today.
So right now I can buy a product that gives my dog better breath for a short duration. Your concept is to have that be a longer term effect, is that right?
That's correct. We're talking about hours.
Hours. You know, when I saw your proposal, I kind of scratched my head a little bit, but then I thought, what is the market? And you know, we all love pets. People spend a lot of money on pets. There is a market opportunity here.
There's absolutely a market opportunity. That's what's very attractive about this. The dog and cat pet food and treat business is about a $36 billion a year business. That's billion with a B. And we are focused on adding our bacteria and our product to dental treats and chews. Specifically for dogs, that's a $1.6 billion market.
1.6 billion. You're not trying to sell your product directly to the consumer. You want to go to another business that would incorporate your product into its own offerings.
Absolutely correct.
That is fascinating. So here you are, you're going to have tenancy here at the incubator in Oro Valley for 1 year. What is that going to do for you, Petya?
Well, this has been a great opportunity for us. Eric and I are bootstrapping this company at this point, so this has really helped us get up and running. We love the lab space behind us, and it just gives us a good starting point to help us grow our business.
I was going to say, just to jump in on that, one of the things that's really attracted us up here to Oro Valley is a proximity to all the other startup companies that are here in the Innovation Center. We've got Roche nearby. We have the University of Arizona's Vet Center. All of these things allow us to create and retain talent here in Oro Valley and in the greater Tucson area. And one of the things that I see as being really important is that at the university, we train a lot of great, brilliant minds, and it makes me so sad when I see them leave and go off to other states or other communities. And so by being based up here in Oro Valley, it provides us great opportunity to retain talent, recruit new talent, and Oro Valley is just a wonderful community for bringing in these young professionals.
That's really great, and I agree with that as a resident of Oro Valley. Your technology has potentially bigger and longer term implications in the market, is that right?
That's absolutely correct.
Tell me about that.
So we are starting out with dogs. You may already have thought about, well, what about cats? Well, cats is another market that we're looking at, but there's also potential opportunity for humans in this also. So it may become to the point where you would chew a piece of gum and then you still have fresh breath 2 or 3 hours later, possibly 4.
Hey, we love that for sure. You mentioned the vet school, and you know, we've been big proponents. We're so happy to have the vet school here. There could be a synergy there between your company and people who are getting their veterinary degrees. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Great.
So I'm a professor in the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, which is sister to our vet school. And one of the great things about that association is this opportunity to plug into this very broad network of professionals, researchers, trainers, educators. And of course, it is this broader community that allows us to bounce ideas, think up new technologies, and of course have this opportunity not just to work with very smart people, but then to bring them back into the lab to develop our current technology and of course try to take that to new places and new markets.
I love that. I mean, it's the synergy that comes along with smart people exchanging ideas and taking us to the future here. Gentlemen, great to have you with us. Thank you so much. Congratulations, and we'll be hoping for regular reports on your progress.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for being with us today. We hope that you're as excited about the bioscience future in Oro Valley as we are. Today's program is going to be posted on our website, along with the digital program with advertising and bios. We hope you'll take advantage of that and look at it. Watch for it in our digital communications as well. Take great care, be well, and may God bless you and yours.
Hi, I'm Dennis Bryant, President of Quail Park Communities. Over 25 years ago, I began my journey in the care of seniors with my mother, who had Alzheimer's, and later my father, who had physical challenges from aging. At the time, I didn't realize what I was learning would set me up for the current chapter in my life story. When the opportunity presented itself to build a senior housing community, it became clear there were many ways to improve on the senior living options that were available at the time. From then to today, in every Quail Park community, we offer new and innovative living options for seniors. We've implemented our best ideas on how seniors seek to live during their aging process. We provide active environments with an abundance of amenities at our residents' fingertips, with multiple options for signature anytime dining, 24/7 care team, fitness center, bistro, movie theater, and much, much more. We also offer a variety of fun and meaningful life engagement activities. With creative care options, we help seniors live full, active, social lives, so they aren't held back by their physical limitations. Quail Park is the right choice for those seniors who don't see aging as inevitable, just merely the next great chapter of their lives. Visit us today to learn why Quail Park is the only place to be for brilliant senior living.
As the sun rises over the Oro Valley and shines upon El Conquistador, a spectacular new day is born. A celebration of life begins again in the desert southwest. The day is yours. Make of it what you wish. Today we ride. Today we play. Today we rest. We do not do things here in an ordinary way. We reach back to our culture and reach forward to the next generation to celebrate what makes this land so great. We want you to experience what makes us so proud. Our way of life, our traditions, our music, our art, our people. What makes us different? We are uniquely Southwest.